Nachi from a mosque, and he will tell you the truth. Nachi free. You are what you think is more than just a cliche. Thoughts become feelings which ultimately affect our behaviors and the choices we make in life. And the more positive those thoughts can be, the better off your life will be too. By the way, this is not a get-rich-quick video or some karmic spiritual nonsense movie like The Secret, which gave dangerously misleading advice regarding the power of positive thinking. There was actually a woman in the movie who suggested that by simply thinking about money, you could expect a check to appear in your mailbox. Now, that's not the advice or insight this video is attempting to provide. I decided to make this video because I know what it's like to become consumed by negative thoughts, to the point of losing all hope and the will to live, just short of suicidal ideation. And while it's understandable to have negative thoughts and fears consume your mind after a major shift in life, such as losing a good paying job, or losing loved ones to cancer, or going through a divorce, whatever the personal struggle may be, if you want to solve your problem, it's imperative to not let fear, sadness, and much less anger take over your thoughts to the point where you lose all hope for living. And negative thought patterns have a snowball effect that can result in a mental avalanche, such as crippling depression and even nervous breakdown. And it's during the hours and even minutes we take for granted throughout the day that negative thought patterns take over. And negative thought patterns can range from silently judging strangers while waiting in line at a store, to the boiling impatience and even hatred towards other people, including yourself. But if your negative thinking has led you to the point of suicidal ideation, as long as you didn't kill yourself, it's never too late to change for the better. And fortunately, there are a few tricks I'd like to share that have personally helped me reduce negative thinking. And yes, some of these tricks I'm about to share are not groundbreaking, but I think they're still worth repeating and confirming that yes, they do work. However, I'm going to begin with one trick I've rarely heard or read anywhere else, though when I've mentioned this to people, they're very quick to agree. And that is to have a positive, upbeat song playing in your head. If, like me, you have a song playing in the back of your mind all the time, it's incredibly helpful to have a positive song versus a sad or negative one. For example, last week I was haunted by the song Angie from the Rolling Stones after a friend played it on his iPhone. And as the song would play in my mind, somehow everything about my life took on a depressing and hopeless perspective. And for quite a few days even, I indulged in all the melancholy and nostalgia that song seems to inspire. And that's how you could slowly start to second guess your life to the point of depression. Many times it's as if we will our own self-destruction. And it wasn't until I made it a conscious effort, and I can't really call it an effort, but it felt like one, to change the soundtrack, something as simple as that, in my head, from Angie to Start Me Up, also by the Stones, that I finally started to cheer up. Bright creative thoughts and a renewed hope for the future started appearing in my head again. Another thing that's helped me think positively, which I don't hear very often either, is accepting and even embracing the random, chaotic nature of life itself, which I know is not easy. Without getting too sidetracked about religion or existentialism, all evidence seems to point to the fact that there is no purpose or meaning to this life. Whenever I hear people say, everything happens for a reason, I usually ask them, oh yeah, you mean like the Holocaust? Or the Holodomor in the Ukraine? Or human slavery and modern day human trafficking? There are certain realities of this life that are very, very difficult to accept. And the only logical explanation is the fact that life is random and we are as insignificant to the universe as the very insects we step on almost every day, many times without even knowing it. However, the sooner you can accept reality, the sooner you can adapt to it, and the sooner you can overcome life's meaninglessness by giving it whatever meaning and purpose you choose. And the best way to do that, and to boost your positive thinking, is to have some goals and at least one hobby. This you've probably heard before, but it's definitely worth confirming. Goals and hobbies are some of the most powerful mental tools and activities to keep you thinking positively and ultimately living a fulfilling, satisfying life. And goals not only help you achieve what you want out of life, but they serve as a positive distraction from the things you don't want in life. And once you've given yourself some goals, stay focused and consistently remind yourself how you will achieve them. And the more realistic your goals are, the better off you'll be. If you give yourself impossible goals like becoming the world's richest person when you're barely earning 50 grand a year with no idea of how to start or even run a business, you will find yourself thinking very negatively very quickly. However, give yourself a goal that's very doable, such as getting a raise or finding a better job. You'll be surprised with the kind of solutions you didn't think possible until you thought it through, and positively. And aside from goals, another positive thinking technique I've learned is to simply change whatever negative subject is brewing in your mind the way you would change an unwanted conversation with somebody else. Unless it's a problem that needs resolving, there's no point in brooding over things you cannot change or control, especially if it's something you've read in the news that doesn't even affect your life to begin with. Which brings me to another helpful technique, which is not groundbreaking, but definitely worth confirming: putting things into their proper perspective. especially if you live in the United States or Western Europe or any other first world democratic and secular nation with a free market economy. Chances are your problems are very solvable. Unless you've been diagnosed with a terminal illness or you've been the victim of some horrific tragedy beyond your control, most of the problems we face in the first world countries are self-induced. And if you could be honest with yourself and admit that your problem is largely your own doing, so is its solution. And the last bit of advice I'd like to share with anyone going through a low period in their life: the power of exercise cannot be stressed enough. And if you could add in healthy eating, even better. After all, you are what you eat as much as what you think. But if you're not eating healthy, you should definitely exercise. You don't even have to join a gym. You just have to find the time in the day, preferably 4 days a week at least, to make your body move. And our bodies were meant to move around, and strenuously so, for brief moments in the day. It's not for nothing why your body will reward you with some endorphins coursing through your brain after a workout. And don't underestimate the power of a long, uninterrupted walk. A good 20-minute walk, and if you have the time, a 1-hour walk, is a great exercise that can double as mindful meditation and positive thinking. I hope this video was somewhat helpful to you, the viewer. Please feel free to let me know of any other ways of thinking positively, or if you think I'm full of shit, in the comments down below. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it or hit the like button, or subscribe and click the bell to be notified of upcoming videos. And if you'd like to support this channel, please consider buying a t-shirt or some merchandise in the links below, or by monthly subscription via Patreon for as little as $1, or a simple one-time donation at paypal.me/homegrown.